This is Nathan Gerby of the Carolina Hurricanes, and you're watching the Power Play Break, the place to talk about pucks.
Back here in the Power Play Break with John Forslund, voice of the Hurricanes. Before we skipped out here on the first segment, let's talk about now you graduated from Adelphi and you go to the American Hockey League as an intern and you come back to Springfield with the Indians. What was that like? I mean, it must have been an exciting and cool time in your life.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't my second choice, but it was another option. The first internship that I went for was with the with Army, okay, with the United States Military Academy. So it was with a football program. It was in television. It was kind of something that was paid, and they narrowed it down to like 3 or 4 people, and I didn't get it. So because I didn't get that, I had an in to at least have a lunch with the owner of the team in Springfield, a guy named Peter Cooney. And we sat down and had lunch, and he gave me an internship, no promises, and I went to work, and I worked a half a season, and then January of '85, he hired me, if you can call it that, because I make a lot of money. But I was hired, and I received a paycheck for doing what I did, and he asked me during the interview process, he said, do you have any broadcasting background? And that's not what I was going to. I was going in as a front office person. Yeah. And I said to him, sure. But he never asked a follow-up question like, do you have a tape? What have you done? And all I had were the old tapes of myself when I was a kid.
Oh my gosh.
But in my mind, I had done all kinds of games, right? So I said, yeah, I've got experience. So he said, well, why don't you do some color with our radio guy? He's a first-year guy, and he's feeling his way around. Anyway, I did, and then he left, and then I got the play-by-play gig and was very lucky to get that.
Was it a fun time to be with that team?
Yeah, we only had 4 people in the front office, and you did every bit of work imaginable, from taking down advertising signage and taking the alcohol and rubbing the paint off, putting them back up, painting the signs, to the ticket sales, the press releases, the PR work, everything. There was a GM, an owner, a business manager, and myself, and that's it. And I did the games, and I was told, and I had to sell advertising, and I was told the broadcasting might be the most important thing for you, and this is the owner talking, but for me, it's way down, man. So if you don't come through in all this, including selling advertising and making some money for the team, you're not going to get a chance to do your games.
Now, were you a good salesman?
I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I hated it. I wasn't good at it. I wasn't good at cold calling people. It was, I could not stand the summer months. I got through it only because I wanted to do what I'm doing today. So I kept that as I would tell myself this as I was driving to certain locations to meet people and ask them.
Did you get any funny sponsorships or any kind of thing? Where you're just like, Kenny Albert was on with us, and he talked about how he did it. He sold $500 worth of advertising to a guy who practically gave the team away in Baltimore.
Yeah, I sold some shady people. I sold some people who never paid, and for some reasons we can't go into. And anyway, yeah, I think we've all come across that.
Now, did you travel with the team?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that must have been.
Well, it was really good.
Was there characters on the team?
Yeah, there were great characters. There were guys who were legendary in terms of minor league hockey back then. There was a guy named Tim Koulis. I don't know if you remember this guy. He played for the Minnesota North Stars. Tim Cuckoo Koulis, okay, and he was from Kenora, Ontario. And he's legendary because he punched out the old referee Bob Hall in the Central League back in the early 80s. Just punched the guy out. He had like a 100-game suspension. He was one of our tough guys on the team, but he was really nice to me. That's the key of the story. And we spent a lot of time on buses, no cell phones, and it was really
family atmosphere,
refreshing, because once you got on the bus, they could never get you. You know, it was like heaven. You know, you're on the bus, and we had Walkmans back then, right?
That was about the extent of entertainment.
That was it. And then the VCRs came along with the tapes and that. We could watch Slapshot over and over again.
Now, Eddie Shore was still around at that point, right?
Yes, he was, yeah.
And talk about the chance meeting you had, and you had a great discussion with him in 1985.
Yeah, just before he passed away, and we did an all-time team. And that was one of the things I was most proud of there, as I kind of oversaw that promotion, brought the guys back. Butch Goring was part of that. And, you know, just being able to be around him. I've been lucky. I've been around a few people in my career. He being one, Gordie Howe being another. My first year with the Whalers, I drove to practice every day with Gordie Howe because he was in my department in the front office and he had nothing to do. So imagine that. So I said, Gordie, would you mind coming to practice every day? He said, I'd love to be around the kids. And you know what? He told me story after story. So those are the perks of the job.
Did you tell Eddie Shore that I was one of the kids who used to give the popcorn and the pucks?
I did.
And
I did.
what
He didn't believe me, but I did tell him that. And you know, again, he was engaging when you really got to know him. He just had this rough exterior that he lived by.
Now, you're from Springfield. You're back in Springfield. I mean, was it nice
Right.
to be back in your hometown and working with the hometown team? And were friends of yours coming to games? And
Yeah, they were, but you know, for me it was a dream come true because of that. You know, I was working for this team now, and you could put up with the 90-hour weeks. You could put up with, you know, coming off the bus from Baltimore at 5 in the morning and going right to the office and cranking out a press release and typing in the statistics and making sure the bloody columns are straight and you white out, and you know, I mean,
before computers, my daughters never understood that world.
nobody gets this anymore, but this is actually how we did it, you know, and figuring out the goals against average and all this, and it was important stuff because the careers were on the line, so it had to be somewhat accurate.
When we get back, we're going to talk about John's transition to the Hartford Whalers right after this.